Today is Tuesday, July 11th, and we continue in our reading of Zechariah chapter 2. Now we'll hear from verses 6 through 9, the apple of his eye. Come, come, flee from the land of the north, declares the Lord, for I have scattered you to the four winds of heaven, declares the Lord. Come, Zion, escape, you who live in daughter Babylon, for this is what the Lord Almighty says. After the glorious one has sent me against the nations that have plundered you, for whoever touches you touches the apple of his eye, I will surely raise my hand against them, so that their slaves will plunder them. Then you will know that the Lord Almighty has sent me. Are you familiar with the phrase, the apple of my eye? Have you ever used it about someone that you care for? It's a phrase I only use every so often, only on special occasions, and that I tend to find is falling into greater and greater disuse. We can find other examples of the scripture in this phrase, such as in Psalm 17, verse 8, and Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 10. It means that we are seen by God, known, understood, treasured, beloved. Isn't it a comfort to know that even when others mistake us or when we're misunderstood, God still sees a beloved child? I know I find it comforting in that. It's interesting that we read in this section, I have scattered you to the four winds. Initially, we could hear this as a sign of divine judgment, wrath, or anger. But let's think of it in terms of Jesus' life in his childhood. God drives the family away to Egypt, not as a sign of divine punishment, but rather by way of deliverance. Sometimes we see God's means of preservation as punitive, a pathway to injury or pain. Today's reading reminds us that wherever we are living, God is for us, has our best interests at heart. And even when we find transitions in life difficult, maybe it's God's way of saying, I'm providing for you, that he has great plans in store, as we read in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, has a future hope on our behalf. I hope that you can take comfort in knowing that you are the apple of God's eye. I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever worship you. I can only imagine. Friends, God is worthy of our worship and of all of our praise, because God, too, is the apple of our eye.